Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Xbox Live episode 290 ET Found. I am one of your hosts, Mark, aka Wingman 709, and with me, as always, is Rob.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Presar on Xbox Live. Hello, hello.
And also with us, as always, is Mr. Brun.
BJ Swick 33, Xbox Live Silver.
And Brun, why don't you share that little story you told me about before we started recording about what happens when you're gold and then you go silver?
Oh yeah, so I actually in my games to be played, which I'll skip this one now. I played NHL 13, but I was jumping on to play some trials, and my saves are in the cloud, which I didn't copy down locally before my Xbox Live Gold expired, so I don't have access to any of my saves. Yes, because you can only access your cloud saves if you're a gold member. So
Oh,
yeah, kind of a
interesting.
bummer. Yeah, no one-time copy down or anything. It's like, oh no, make sure. And I tweeted them, and I put in there, so cloud saves are gold only. I go, I said something bad, and they responded to me and said, oh no, yes, they are gold only. Make sure you copy them locally before your thing expires. And I said, thanks. 1 week too late. And they said, if you have any other issues, feel free to contact them.
They're so
So,
kind.
yep.
Too kind they
If
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should respond back with, if you have troubles entering a 2-day gold trial, please let us know.
Yeah,
Or
that's the
3-day or
support I
whatever that
got.
is.
But who knows? Maybe they delete my tweet or something, because who knows if they delete things that people post.
Nah, I don't think they
Yes,
would
they
delete
do.
your things.
Oh,
Yes, they
Maybe somebody
do.
else's.
yeah. Segue.
You're not a rabble rouser like
You
other people.
segued it too early though,
Oh,
but we'll get to it really
Spoiler.
quick. But before we jump into that segue, let me interject. Be sure to check us out at thisxboxlife.com to see all our past shows. And also, you can support us by doing a shopping at Amazon.com. If you go to our website, click on our Amazon link there, it will take you to the appropriate store for the country that you live in, and that will help support the show. So we really, really appreciate that. Now, I am going to jump in. We're going to follow that segue that Brun did. Oh, before we do, I got to show you guys something. And I know Rob and Brun can't see this live on the camera, but they
give
already
me,
saw it.
yeah, give me 8
This is
seconds.
my new mug of
Oh
choice.
yeah, yeah.
I bought this week from Amazon. You can get this on Amazon. I posted in our Facebook group, so you can. It's a toilet mug, and it looks really nasty if you fill it with coffee. But
Uh,
I had lemonade in it, and my youngest son would not drink it, but my daughter and my older son did. They drank out of the toilet.
uh,
It was funny. My wife was asking me that night. She was not happy. She does not like this thing, and she was asking me that night. She needed me to grill or cook dinner or whatever, and I said, "I will if you drink out of the toilet." She didn't drink
nice.
out of the toilet, but I still ended up cooking.
I am buying one of those. I have my mind set on it.
So
So
if you want the toilet mug, it's not something you really the toilet bowl will clink into your face. It's not the it's more like it's a novelty. Okay, you'll do it a couple of times, but it's you can set it on your desk and fill it with candy if you want. You could use it as a candy dish, but it's quite a humorous little thing. So they sell them on Amazon, and so you can use our link and purchase yourself your own toilet coffee mug. It's a hoot. Um, all right.
Nice.
So, anyways, Brun said and Rob said that Xbox would never ever delete anything that you would say, and I call bunk on that.
Well, I
Well,
said they wouldn't delete Bruns.
oh, Brun's true. So I went out this week and I got into the official Xbox forums because I'm really tired of the mainstream media, video game media, if you will, IGN/Sony, um, always doing every time a new game comes out. There's there's a resolution comparison done. And it's like we always, we've seen these, how does Xbox 360 compare to PS4? How do they look? Those type of comparisons. But this one's completely different. This is strictly a 1080p versus a non-1080p. That's all it is. That's just trying to show you every game that comes out for Xbox One is not at 1080p. And I'm like, you know what? I've really liked the looks of the games. Everything that I have played on Xbox One looks incredibly good. It runs good. I have issues with the console itself and the OSs in the background, which I think blow dog. But it's not the games. I mean, the games look and run really well. So I went out there, and I'm verbatim. I'm going to read you exactly what I posted. Now, I'll say this. It probably wasn't Microsoft themselves that removed it. It was one of their, quote, ambassadors, who are just, they approved me as an ambassador one time, and I got tired of being flooded with stupid questions while I was trying to work during the day, so I backed out. But I think I still have the ambassador tag, even though I backed out of it. But it's just, anybody can become an ambassador, I guess. So here's what I wrote. Hey there, Xbox fans. I have a question and a bit of a concern that I wanted to run past all of you. Before you read before you read the title of this forum and flame me, please read my post so that you understand what I'm asking here. Because I had titled it like 1080p controversy. I said, I'm a huge fan of Xbox. Been hosting an Xbox devoted podcast for about 8 years now and love my Xbox One for the most part. I am not one of those people who think every game must be in 1080p. I believe that the game just needs to be fun. Look at Minecraft. It looks like crap, but millions of people love it. I doubt most people can tell the difference between the different HD resolutions. But I am seeing constant game comparisons between Xbox One and PS4 with every game release. Microsoft continues to get negative press over games not running at 1080p and 60 frames a second like they do on the PS4. Sony is selling more consoles by a big margin, and if this trend continues, the margin will continue to grow. We are also seeing games being canceled for Xbox One. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, for example, has been canceled for Xbox One, but it is on every other platform. I would love to hear a non-spin answer from Microsoft, but I know that will never happen. So what do you guys think Microsoft should do, if anything, to ensure that Xbox One games look and run the same as the competition, that games stop getting canceled for Xbox One, Spider-Man is not the first, or to reduce the negativity in the press? Please don't say lower the price, because that will not have anything to do with the negative press regarding resolution. Thanks. This thread sparked some conversation. I didn't see anybody really going off the charts and being rude. There was, there's always responses that people can't seem to follow your question, They'll be like, well, we need Peggle 5 or something. What does Peggle 5 have to do with any, it's like their answer is nothing relative to the question or to the discussion I was trying to have. What I was curious, and my point of this question, was what do other gamers feel that Microsoft, we got E3 coming up. Is there something they can do at E3 to maybe negate the negative press? Because I don't care that my games are not in 1080p or 60 frames a second. I don't even know if I would know the difference. So, does it matter? And I think it matters when IGN is very well followed by a lot of people, and when they're constantly basically putting this out going, Xbox One is inferior and you got to pay more for it. PS4 is cheaper and it runs better and looks prettier. People that are not on a side are probably going to go to the PlayStation side. I mean, that would make sense to me. If I was not where I am today, I might, well, gee, this one's better than that one. Why would I pay $100 more, right? Well, the thread got shut down. I mean, it didn't even get locked. They deleted the entire thing. I don't know who did it. I did get another ambassador who was a moderator of that that forum who saw it and actually replied to me and gave some different commentary. And he said, he basically pointed back to the terms of service, and because it's controversial, that's probably why it got shut down. The guy that spoke to me says he wasn't the one to do it, but He said it happens all the time. Some of these ambassadors will immediately just drops anything that they don't like that doesn't, it's not all like Microsoft rules. So if you try to have an adult conversation, don't go to xbox.com support or the forums and expect to have it, because the moderators and ambassadors are not going to allow that to happen. So I bring that question to you guys because Microsoft has sold to retail 5 million Xboxes. PlayStation 4 has sold 7 million to customers, and they have specified the difference on those, even though I believe the 5 million to retail are all sold to customers. But I got to go with what's being reported. So 2 million is a pretty big gap in only a short amount of time. What they came out in November, so
Yeah.
So about 6 months.
Maybe, yeah, coming up on 6 months.
Well, it's like
5
and a
months.
half.
We're at 5 months right now, I guess. So 2 million gap, I think, is pretty big. And with all and so that's the thing. They've got a big lead on us already, on Microsoft. Like, I'm Microsoft. And I think if they continue to see this negative press, because no matter what you say, what Microsoft would say, it's negative press towards Microsoft when, well, this machine does better than this one. That's the story that comes out every time. So, what do you guys think? I'm going to shut up now, finally. What does Microsoft need to do anything at E3 to try to negate that negative 1080p discussion?
Well, I think it actually goes further beyond just the 1080p. I mean, the 1080p is something, unfortunately, that's been recurring, and it doesn't help the situation whatsoever. Microsoft is just in the kind of position where there's nothing that they can do that is going to be seen as okay. You know what I mean? It's whatever Microsoft does, they'll just get slammed for it, and the Xbox One suffers. And it stinks that it's like that, where a lot of other companies that would have gotten a pass for these very simplistic things, Microsoft just gets hammered on it. And all the bad press that Microsoft got originally for the whole I'll call it the DRM and all that stuff that happened last year, that stuck with people. Even the people that don't even know too much about the systems, they don't know enough about the systems. All they might remember in their head is like, hey, wasn't there something with the Microsoft Xbox where it was going to do something that wasn't good? I remember seeing it in the headlines. Yeah, I'm going Sony. And even if the people are on the fence, they keep seeing these 720p things. They keep seeing it over and over. And all it does is solidify, like it's like pushing people the other way. But the thing is, it does not matter. Does it really matter? Are there people out there that know the difference? Like, can you tell visually if a game's 720 or whatever or 1080p? I would call no. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there that can smell the difference between the two or whatever, because when you're playing something like, Forza. No, not Forza. That's probably not a good example. Let's say you're playing something like Rise or Ghosts or something like that. There's too much going on for you to even be able to like stare at the image and go, oh, look at that texture on this little bullet as it's zipping by. I mean, you're not going to look at it. And all it is, it's just fodder for the journalists that want to get the headline of the day. And I mean, whatever the problem is that Microsoft's got, where I don't know if it's the dev kits or if it's the system's ability or drivers or whatever, it's just hurting them. It's just hurting them, and they need to fix this as soon as possible. I honestly don't believe that the Xbox One cannot do 1080p with the game. I believe it can do it well. It's just I don't know what the what needs to be done to get that performance out of it. Because it's the same chip as the PlayStation, isn't it?
Yeah, the only big
The
difference is
Jaguar or
really
whatever.
is the RAM is the only big difference. But I mean, there's what was the game we talked about last week where it's going to be running 1080p on the Xbox One? It's from Ubisoft. Is it Watch Dogs? It's going to be running 1080p.
I know Wolfenstein will be on both
Oh,
platforms.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I know there's something, and I've heard one thing is like, there was this mandatory 10% of resources were supposed to be set aside per game for the Kinect. And I guess they put out an update to remove that 10%. And supposedly that 10%, if it's a game that's not using Kinect, can then use that for other purposes or whatever. But I mean, I as far as the whole 1080p thing, I don't see anything of that. I mean, it's just you're right. A place like IGN which is pro Sony. That's my opinion. And listen, IGN is the site I go to for a lot of my information because I relate to people on there, and I relate to Colin Moriarty, who is a PlayStation person. But it's just like that whole 7 million versus 5 million. 48 countries versus 13 countries or 20 countries or however many countries that the Xbox is sold in versus the 48 that Sony's sold in right now. I mean, that's huge. There's a lot of consoles in other countries that the Xbox isn't available in. But, they're both companies are having outstanding record breaking things. But this whole 1080p thing, to me, it doesn't make sense, but yet it's something to latch onto. Like if you're pixel counting, which is really the only way to tell, I guess you have something to talk about. You're a fanboy of one thing or the other if you're doing something like that. I think it's more important to have 60 frames a second than
You're right. The
1080p.
smoothness. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we were just watching a Trials video.
Right.
Could you really tell if it was 1080p?
No, it looks awesome. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Absolutely right.
yeah, and I get, and the one thing that Xbox can do, and they will do, I don't think it'll be this year because I don't think it's that important to do, is they're going to have a console refresh. They're going to put out an update. Do you remember the 360 when they had like Jasper chipsets and all that stuff? Like they're going to eventually do that, and here in a year or so, everything's going to be running at 1080p. They're probably going to have DDR5 RAM, and they're probably going to have all that stuff. And they're going to be like, "Look, we're exactly the same as the PlayStation 4, but guess what? We have got games."
Yeah.
So, and that's things like when I talk about the IGN and that's their one thing is like I listened to their last show and Colin Moriarty's like, "Yeah, okay, we're outselling. The PlayStation's outselling the Xbox One." But it's hard to, those people are buying a console that has no games. It's like, that's weird justification. You're buying a console that has no games. And he's saying it. So it's just, that's what they have to do. Come out with games. That's all you need. So.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
But now the moderator has to delete this whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to what have we been playing this week. Rob, you are up, and it looks like you
Betcha.
played something.
Yeah, I got a little bit of Ghosts in, and then also the usual Lego Marvel. I was looking at Trials. I was thinking about picking that thing up, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. That's about it. Well, and yeah, that's about it.
It's a good
Nice.
game, man.
It's what?
It's a good game. It's
Yeah,
frustrating, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's. I was kind of wondering. Hey, well, let me ask you this, because the thing I was kind of wondering about was if it's something I could introduce my son to. So he's 5.5. Oh, he's almost 6. He's going to be 6 pretty soon. Do you think that is too frustrating for
I would
like
say
a
yes.
young kid?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay,
Um,
even with assistance.
Yes, it is so sensitive. It's very physics based. What I would say is go back to the 360 and download any one of the Trials games there.
Okay.
Try the demo
Yeah.
because you can get the free demo there. Have him try one of those. That way you're not playing. If he gets frustrated and can't figure it out, then don't waste your money on the new one. If he does like it, then you can decide if you want to spend the money on it. But I
Well,
would
he
say
can
just
get,
let him play on the 360. Just get those 2 demos for Trials HD and Trials. What was the other one? Trials Revolution or something like that.
yeah, that sounds about right.
So at least try those out and see if you can play them. But they're tough. I can't even get past the hard tracks. I can get to the hard tracks, and I think I've only been able to do like 2 of them, and I'm stuck on the 3rd one. So I just cannot make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that a shot. Oh, and I played a little bit of Pinball FX2 on the 360 as we were playing that earlier in the week.
Did I think they knew those new Star Wars tables came out? I never did go pick them up.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing some. We just picked up a couple more Marvel tables
Yeah,
since that's the current flavor of the week for my son.
yeah. Cool. All right, there, Braun. How about you?
Well, I already mentioned NHL 13. I played some Hearthstone, Diablo 3, of course, and I put, since Double XP weekend for Battlefield 4, I put it in. I actually turned it on, and 3 minutes into my first round, I got killed, stuck in the kill cam, and couldn't commit suicide or couldn't respawn or anything like that, and had to quit out all the way. So I played like 2 more rounds after that, and I was done with that one. So the game is still broken. So I don't think they have any hopes for that game right now. So that's all.
All right, and I played, of course, Titanfall. I have played Peggle 2. The new DLC came out. Been working on that, and I played some Tomb Raider. So that
Again.
again. Yep, that's the sum of my week. So trying to take a little break, play a little less. I was just getting like too frustrated. I couldn't even play Titanfall without getting just angry every time, and I'm just like, I got to take a break. I got to play something else. I did some Peggle. You can lose on that and not get mad, and then I just took a little break. And the last time I went to play Titanfall this week, I said, okay, I'm just not going to get mad. There's no point to get mad, because there isn't. It's just, and I enjoyed the games much better. I had, I had to go into it going, don't get mad, just enjoy it. And I enjoyed the game. But now with summer coming, I think I'm going to see a lot less time on the Xbox. But
You probably enjoy it much better that way.
yeah, I gotta just can't be on it every day. It's just too much.
Somebody, who was it that completed Tomb Raider in our chat?
Vengeful Loki did.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's an awesome story, awesome game. So,
Amazing.
it is. So maybe Loki, you can join us for some multiplayer. We got Democulus and I are doing a little boosting on it. So if you want to get any multiplayer achievements, there's some that require 3 people. We can help you out with those. There's only like 3 of them, and you can get them real quickly. So, but I'm unable to play the online with that. In fact, what I was going to do as a test, I was going to delete my game off my Xbox and re-download it, because whenever I launch the game, I'll go into the menus and go to multiplayer. Every single time I do, it says that the servers are not available, yet other people can play. Like Democulus can always get in and play. I have never been able to launch a multiplayer game, and I went to their official forums, and other people are having the same problem, and there doesn't seem to be a fix for it. So I was wondering if I could delete the game and then re-download it just to see if anything would change. So, but my concern is the game save separate? And it looks like I'm looking at it now. I do have save data of 12 meg. So if I click on the game, if I uninstall the game, I'm hoping my game save stays.
It should be separated. If it's anything like the 360,
Well,
there's 2 different. They're grouped together under the same thing under your memory. But when you open it up, you have your save, and then you have the game as two separate files. Just don't delete the outer layer, I guess, like the full thing that you have there.
Well, we're gonna find out. So, because the one thing I've learned is, just because the 360 did it, trust me, Brian, that's what not having an Xbox One yet. You haven't found out the frustration of everything that was right on the 360 is not in the Xbox One.
Oh, awesome!
It was so messed up from the start. Now they've fixed some things, but not everything. So I'm going to reinstall. I'm going to reinstall it. Let's see what.
So what you're saying is get a PlayStation 4.
That's not what I'm saying, but
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying I don't want to make an assumption. I know on the 360 you could delete the game and your save file is still there. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the same for this particular console.
Right. I mean, I've always wanted to play in 1080p and not 720. Just kidding.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's go ahead, and I think that about wraps it up, does it not?
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our topics.
All right. So Defense Grid is a game that came out quite a while ago on the 360, and it was one of the games with gold titles early on in that program's inception there. Actually, I think it might have been one of the first ones, if I recall correctly. But that's old news. And what's new news is Defense Grid 2, essentially. I believe it's called, what is it called? Let's just call it Defense Grid 2, because I think The Awakening is the original one.
Right.
Yeah. So, Defense Grid 2, it stands. And so this is going to be coming out sometime this year. And there's a pretty cool article written up on Xbox Wire from this past week that did some discussion about it. And they go on to say, part of the reason of the success of Defense Grid on the 360 can likely be attributed to its controller friendliness. Keeping the game fully playable with a single stick and a single button has been a key part of letting everyone easily jump in a play and game right away. And this came from Hidden Path CEO Jeff Pobst, however you say that. As you play further, you find additional features that can help you out on the other buttons and stick controller, but it's a very simple base control scheme that players find extremely intuitive. And I've got to say, in addition to the control, it's just a fun game all the way around. Really well done. Probably, it actually sets the bar for probably the best. What do they call those? Tower defense. Yeah, the best power or tower defense game that I've ever played, and it's actually disappointing that nothing else comes close, at least for me. So the writer goes on to say that that the writer's been able to play several of the levels of Defense Grid 2, and I found Defense Grid 2. What is that? Too hue close? What does that mean? I don't know. To the original, placing familiar gun inferno and laser towers on select spots of the map. Alien hordes march or fly dutifully through this gauntlet towards your stash of cores, attempting to ferry them off the map. One of the hallmarks of Defense Grid is how skilled players can herd advancing enemies along the longest path possible, thereby increasing the amount of time they're taking fire from the towers. Yeah. This is made easier. How about that? What? In Defense Grid 2, with the introduction of toggleable path indicator, which is very useful when plotting upend your precious resources. And as you might expect in a sequel, Defense Grid 2 will introduce new alien and tower types across its 21 levels. Hidden Path also is introducing movable platforms, necessitating on the fly strategy shifts as the grids evolve. And for the first time, you'll be able to rotate your view of the levels. That's kind of neat. But the most significant addition to Defense Grid 2 is multiplayer capability. Co-op play allows players to tackle maps together, either on the same couch or via Xbox Live. Competitive modes aren't tower versus alien. Both players take on the aliens independently, with
Nice.
successful defenses on one side translating to more enemies for your opponent to handle. That's
Nice.
interesting.
That's gonna
That's
be
kind
cool.
of sweet. Yeah. So Hidden Path will also leverage the power of Xbox One to make you a better player. He explains with the cloud features of Xbox One, we'll be able to keep more statistics and information about how a player beats a level, and then show this information to the players so they can compare their score curve from a play through against their previous best, their last playthrough, the playthrough of their friend, perhaps the playthrough of the person right above them on leaderboards, etc. And those stats are going to be useful for advanced players, as completing levels is one thing. Finishing with all 24 cores intact is much more challenging. It's that quest for perfection that's likely to keep players coming back long after they've seen every level. So look for Defense Grid 2 coming this fall. This game sounds pretty sweet. And I think based on how much fun I had with the first game, especially at that free 99 price tag that I got it at last year, Defense Grid 2, at least for me, is going to be a must buy.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
With
yeah.
you.
And
this
it's funny. This is a game that I never, ever would have even given a chance if it wasn't free. And I was immediately sold.
Yeah, as soon as I saw this, and I'm like, day one purchase for me.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
It's even if it's, and I hate to say this, but hopefully the developers and the publishers aren't listening. If it's $60, I'll still buy it.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with the first
I
one.
really hope they didn't hear that.
Yeah, I hope it's more like $20.
Yeah,
But
it'll never be $60. It'll be $59.99.
There you go, exactly. So it's an excellent game. So I can't wait for the sequel. This will be so much fun, and co-op, and making Xbox Live co-op is, I think, really sweet. So thank you to the devs for that. That is awesome.
Oh, for sure.
So cool.
Cool. All right. Well, so Microsoft's been continuing to file trademarks and all that good stuff for games and things like that. Coming up with E3 here soon. Eden Falls was recently trademarked, or filed, I should say, for a trademark. So what this is, the name or the application doesn't reveal too much information other than the fact that the trademark is for an online computer game. But there is a blog for Eden Falls, which is a sci-fi RPG. Now, the developer on the blog is Brimstone Interactive, but then also there's a Twitter account for Eden Falls, which lists Lift London as the developer, so there's some conflicting things there. So it's kind of all up in the air on what it's really going to be about, but it probably most likely is a game. Don't look for it, I would guess, anytime this year. Maybe we'll be surprised. I'm not sure. But there is an update here. A spokesperson told IGN that the company often acquires various trademarks as a part of the ongoing business strategy, but beyond that, they have no comment. So that's the latest update on it. But more more filings for trademarks. That is all for that.
Cool. All right. Well, you guys heard me talk about 1080p, and one of the things I did get out of that forum question I put in was, before it was deleted, was a link to a story on neowin.net regarding DirectX 12. And this was something that I had missed and hadn't seen this before. But I think this might be our answer. So at the recent Build conference, Microsoft unveiled their new graphics stack called DirectX 12, which was demonstrated to more than double the performance on existing hardware and work on all Microsoft platforms. Earlier this year, AMD's new Mantle platform demonstrated what was possible in the graphics stack could effectively utilize all the cores on modern CPU. The result was a massive boost in performance in Mantle-enabled games with very little developer effort, as shown by Oxide Games and Battlefield 4. The challenge for AMD is that Mantle is currently PC only and restricted to recent AMD video cards. If only there was a graphics stack that supported multi-core processing that worked on all video cards. So, meanwhile, Microsoft's Xbox One has been well received, but has been criticized for being measurably behind Sony's PlayStation 4 in terms of game performance. Microsoft has responded with DirectX 12. With relatively little effort by developers, upcoming Xbox One games, PC games, and Windows Phone games will see a doubling in graphics performance. Suddenly, the Xbox One game that struggled at 720p will be able to reach fantastic performance at 1080p. For developers, this is a game changer. So the images that I've got up, anybody, Brun and Rob probably know what this all means. Anybody out there that does any, what is it I'm trying to think of? Benchmarking will understand this, but
Profiling.
Yeah, or profiling, as it states on the chart. If you look at that, just that very first line in the thread 0. With all these different things going on, you're well over 7.5 milliseconds. But then if you look at the DirectX 12, all that stuff is now about, it's less than 5. You're probably about 4 milliseconds. I mean, it goes off the chart on the top one. I can't even see how far out it goes. But they say, the article reads, most of the performance gain is a result of DX12 making full use of multiple CPU cores. For example, on a DX11, a typical game would perform like the chart you guys see at the top. And then as you can see, thread 0, that starting thread for the game, is doing most of the work. In fact, DX11 is barely being utilized by the other threads. But on DX12, the situation changes dramatically. Not only is DX12 more efficient in its own right, but the interaction with the GPU is evenly spread between each CPU core. So the results are spectacular, not just in theory, but in practice. While each generation of video card struggles to gain substantial performance of the previous generations, here the same hardware will suddenly see a doubling of performance. Xbox One is the biggest beneficiary. It effectively gives every Xbox One owner a new GPU that is twice as fast as the old one. There is a downside for all this power. DX12 games will be the first games to fully utilize the powerful graphics cards that gamers have. But it goes into, this one actually goes into overheating. So this will be, but they're geared more towards PCs. The rest of the article talks about people that have some older cards that are not going to be able to make use of this. They do run the risk of overheating their cards pretty badly. So, but this, I mean, doubling our performance, I think that's pretty cool. And so this might be our answer, and maybe we'll see something, since they talked about this at E3, or I mean at Build. Maybe we'll get some of this at E3. And how it compares exactly to the Xbox One and what we can expect to see. So maybe they will answer my question. And maybe this will be able to finally negate the negativity going towards Xbox One regarding 1080p. So what do you guys think? You guys got any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, not only is it shrinking on your very first thread, but it's actually, multi-threading it. So, that this one here, and it shows 4 threads. So I don't know what the GPU is. It normal GPUs, are they only 4-core right now, or majority of them maybe? Because I know like my CPU on my computer is 8-core, and I know Battlefield had problems with it because actually Windows 8. If anybody doesn't know this, Windows 8, you have like CPU or core parking. So they park your cores. So what happens is, like, once a core fills up to 100%, then it goes down to the next core and uses what it needs. And then once that core's done, then it goes back up to the other one once it gets more power. and the other ones are parked. I have an 8-core CPU, so I unparked all my cores, and now everything's like spread across all 8 of them. It doesn't have to like overflow down the line, so it all goes in multi all the way across, and my performance on my CPU or on my computer just like skyrocketed. Like everything just started working better. So, but yeah, this type of thing here is probably definitely going to help.
Well, I definitely look forward to seeing more on this. So I say it's good news.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is.
So, all right, cool.
All right, Warface is a free-to-play game that just came out for the Xbox 360, and it is titled Warface Xbox 360 Edition. How clever is that? So the game is from Crytek and Microsoft Studios. It got released on the 22nd. What day was that? So that was Tuesday last week. It's a first-person shooter, of course, and so it's free to play. It's got a 5-soldier co-op mode and competitive 16-person maximum versus mode, where players can master 4 different classes, including rifleman, sniper, medic, and engineer, where you can experience different approaches, gameplay, and all that good stuff. Then the fans of Warface Xbox 360 Edition are going to receive regularly updated content, which is going to enable a different experience with daily cooperative campaign missions. And they say a continuous supply of new maps, weaponry, and all that good stuff. So definitely check this game out, since it's essentially free if you have an Xbox Live Gold subscription. So sorry, Brun. I guess you can't play this. Game is rated T for teen and Peggy 16.
I remember the beta version of it. It really wasn't that good. But
yeah, is it one of those things of you?
So
is it one of those things of you get what you pay for?
Yeah, could be. But that was beta, of course. I mean, it's completely could have changed because this is like over a year ago. So, but yeah, cool. So a game
and it looks like it's not available in all countries. It is available in a bunch of countries. So, just thought I threw that out as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. So this game that you guys might like called Peggle 2.
Never
heard of it. All right, next story. Go right ahead.
Whatever.
It's getting DLC. That's all. So, it's Peggle 2 Windy Ferry DLC gives a flying flock. Play on words there, I believe. Good old joystick. So, Peggle 2 will be receiving a new master via the DLC named Windy. It's a sprightly fairy that brings with her a special fairy flock power. Windy transformed blue pegs into in the game into a score boosting purple pegs and simple shots into ones that are bound to earn players additional chances. So, along with the DLC, besides the new master, you get 10 new levels, 10 trials, 3 costumes, 3 achievements, and 30 objectives, and all for $1.99.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the price.
Yeah, so the game is on Xbox One. Launched.
It's on
Okay, it launched in December.
well.
Oh yeah, but it launched in December, right?
For Xbox One, it did.
Right. Okay. So let's see, May 7th.
And actually, I think it's out already.
Yeah.
I think I saw it in the store the other day.
Yeah. So, the rest of the story is just talking about when it was released on 360, when it was released on Xbox One. But
yeah, it's called "Let's Double the Size of Our Article" from 1 paragraph to 2.
Yeah.
By giving you history.
I was trying to look here, and I was trying to find out when this DLC was coming out, and nothing.
Dude, all you have to do is.
Oh, okay. It says today. Okay,
it's already out. It's been out. It came out
a couple days ago.
Okay.
I've been playing
it. If there's anything you need to know about Peggle, you just ask Mark.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
He's our resident authority.
So I was sitting there looking. I'm like, "There's no date on here, but it says downloadable content today." I'm like, "Oh, geez, okay." I even pre-read the story.
Moving on. Moving on.
That's a problem.
All right.
Do I look tired?
So now that everybody knows that Dragon Age Inquisition is coming in October, EA has seen to fit to reveal what's in the digital deluxe edition. So this $70, or I think it's 60 euros, is the euro. It's like almost like an L with a line through it. Isn't that a euro symbol? Or E with like a curve at the top? I think it's a euro.
Something or other.
Well,
Or maybe it's a British pound. I don't know. But anyways, for $70, this bundle will feature the RPG's digital soundtrack as well as a bunch of in-game goodies that includes everything from a throne fashioned out of a dragon skull to an unfortunately titled Bog Unicorn.
that's 60 pounds, by the way.
Pounds. Okay. See, pound to me is the number sign or hashtag.
Yeah, that's tic-tac-toe.
That's pound. They always say hit the pound sign. So anyways, you can check out the full list of deluxe bonuses over at Origin's website. But if you prefer a lower priced extras free download, the standard edition is going to go for $60, obviously, with 50 pounds. If you have something more physical, EA said it will have news on a collector's edition in the next few weeks. So for those like Democulus that want to have the box and the physical stuff, then you can get that in a few weeks. So that's it. They will have a digital. What I like about this was that, digital downloads are going to be able to you can get some of this extra stuff too. So I'm kind of glad to see that. Oh, and this game will be available October 7th. That
Okay.
is it?
That is all. All right, moving along. Evolve is a game that's looking pretty sweet. It's coming out in the future sometime. Nice and descriptive, huh? So it's coming out, I believe, later on this fall. And it's done by 2K Games and Turtle Rock Studios. They have released, a couple of days ago, they have released a huge video, meaning time-wise, it's very large. It's not just a regular trailer. It's over an hour long, or no, it is just under an hour at 52 minutes and 35 seconds of gameplay. This is the game we talked about a couple times already, where it's basically a 5-person game, essentially, where it's 4-on-1. One person plays this huge, monstrous monster creature, whatever you want to call it, of sorts, and then the other 4 players are basically trying to take it down. So it's 4-on-1, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of this game. It wasn't something that I thought I would be really interested in, but the gameplay on it looks phenomenal. It looks really sweet. So definitely check this thing out, and maybe you'll be swayed to picking this game up.
No.
What?
No.
No?
I'm still not sold on this
You don't
game.
like it?
And I think this trailer almost made it even more so that I don't want this game.
Really?
Yeah, this
How
trailer,
so?
it's like 52 minutes long, but what it is, it's like one match. And the very first segment, it's all commentary. These guys are talking about it, and you're seeing the game from like all 5 players' perspective. And then
Right.
the rest of it is you see the entire match replayed from just one perspective of each player. So it's like you're watching the same thing 5 times. But what I noticed was when you're watching one of the players' trailers, like the very first guy who dies, he's dead for 2 minutes, and he doesn't even get to watch what's going on. He's out of the game for 2 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to die and then be out of the game just sitting there twiddling my thumbs for 2 minutes and just staring at a countdown clock. I really thought that was kind of dumb. I didn't like that. You can't even see what's going on, which I get, so that when you come back, you don't really know what's happening. I mean, I kind of like that idea, builds up kind of tension. But to sit there for 2 minutes, I think that's ridiculous. That's a long time.
Yeah, because when you're probably sitting there, that 2 minutes seems like an eternity, I would imagine.
And this dude takes so much damage, this monster. I mean, which I mean he would need to, but I'm just like, all these weapons which look so cool, they don't really seem to be doing much. I just felt like it almost to me kind of felt like all that effort in, I don't know, what are you gonna, is, I don't know. It just didn't grab me. Like I love Left 4 Dead, and I know this is from the guys that did that, but this game from the start has never really, this whole 4-on-1, and I'm like, well, I don't know about that. That doesn't really sound like it'd be a lot of fun. And then when I watch this, I was just like, I don't know. It's I can see where it'd be kind of neat, but they're playing for 20 minutes and they still don't take this guy down.
Jeez.
I'm like, wow, this thing almost seems unbeatable. I don't know. But the biggest thing I thought that I didn't like was that 2-minute timeout. It's like even in hockey, when you get penalized, you're still watching the game. You still see what's going on. No, imagine being in the penalty box of a hockey game and them having blacked out the window so you can't see or hear anything that's going on. And I'm like, that just seems, I don't get it. So, but anyways, I know a lot of people are excited about it. I'm not as excited for this particular title for some reason. So it looks good though. It does look good.
Well, if for our listeners, if you haven't checked it out, definitely take a look at this video. It's about 50 minutes long, like I said, and it shows quite a bit of gameplay in here. And you can decide.
So what
that
did
is
you
all.
think, Rob? Did you get a chance to watch any of it? And that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I did.
What did you think? I mean,
The one thing I was really kind of surprised at was for most of the video, it seemed like that big monster was like running away. I would have thought that he just would have been like, kicking butt, just sitting there like smashing the guy and just annihilating him. But it seems like the soldiers were hunting him the entire time.
right. And I mean, there's some interesting aspects, like you can trap him in an arena area so that he can't get out, because he does need, as he takes damage, he can heal himself by killing other animals and like eating the animals,
Right.
and he gets his health back. But like right now, those watching the feed or a minute ago, you could see where it said the feed was disabled for 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Offline.
That's because he died. And that's what you stare at for that whole time. Because if you continue on and watch the player's version, he stares at that screen for 2 minutes. And I'm like, wow. So he has no idea what's going on. But that's just, I think, way too much time to be out of a game. So,
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. But it does look good.
Although I think by having those players out for a while, it like gives a fighting chance, Because if the players respawn immediately, especially at the same spot, I mean the creature would never have a chance, I would think.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's Evolve
All right.
coming this fall.
So there is a game reseller called GameStop. They are looking to expand their reach in what is deemed, when they deem more viable market, while shedding some weight from its traditional brick and mortar GameStop stores. So that's what they're trying to do or attempting to do. The CEO gave a presentation in the 2014 Investors Day. Revealed his plans on what he's calling GameStop 3.0, a new phase of the company's lifespan that will see it aggressively expand its footprint into gaming adjacent tech fields. GameStop has its collective eyes on mobile and specifically on Apple branded devices like iPhone and iPad. GameStop own brands like Spring Mobile and Simply Mac will expand at a significant rate this fiscal year to fulfill the CEO's goals for the company. So on top of that, they are actually going to be closing 120 to 130 stores. So I find that interesting. It's almost like, they're just now realizing that what they were doing wasn't going to work for very much longer. So now they're trying to jump into, mobile gaming. Now, I don't see how they're going to sell. If they're trying to attempt to sell mobile games, that means they'd have to be developing mobile games, because there's already these things called the marketplace that sells the games. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to get into. So GameStop's shutting down some stores, and I don't see them. I don't see this stopping for GameStop. I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm going strictly digital on my next console, and I know Sony's completely against digital downloads because they want you to
hand the disc
share the games. That's their big thing. So, hopefully you don't have a PS4 and your GameStop's one of the ones that's closing. Now you have to drive 2 hours to the next one, or go across the street.
Walmart. Go to
Yeah.
Walmart, Best Buy.
Yeah. All right.
Okie dokie. So, good news. This is an article off Xbox Wire, and they say it's an awesome time for independent developers to bring their unique brands of creativity to a new generation of gaming. With ID at Xbox, we're committed to helping developers bring their games to Xbox One while making the development process as seamless as possible. Core to that commitment is providing the tools developers need to succeed, including supporting a quickly expanding catalog of middleware solutions. Now, ID at Xbox developers, like all developers on Xbox One, can begin utilizing Unreal Engine 4 for their Xbox One game development. Epic Games first unveiled their new subscription model at GDC in March, enabling developer access to leading-edge tools, features, and complete C++ source code through a subscription licensing model. Unreal Engine 4 provides a rich suite of tools to content developers, including the Blueprint visual scripting system, giving designers and artists unprecedented power to construct gameplay logic without programming, a visual material editor, the Persona animation system, and Matinee timeline-based machinima and cinematic systems. ID at Xbox developers can apply for an Unreal Engine 4 subscription today, and as always, reach out to Xbox and ID team directly for additional info. So this is just another step in their ongoing efforts to provide developers the tools they need to create stellar games on Xbox One. So that's cool. That's good news, I think, that the independent guys are going to have access to Unreal Engine 4, and Microsoft's helping them get that subscription going. So, cool.
All right, more DLC for Rise, Son of Rome. This is a new DLC called Duel of Fates. It's going to be, or it is, $8.99, or it's free if you have the Season Pass. And for me, I think the Season Pass seems worth it, since Season Pass is $20, and this game or this DLC alone is $8.99. So with everything you get, it definitely makes sense to have a Season Pass. But what do you get with that? You might ask. Well,
what do you get with that, Rob?
All right. I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you. So there's two new arena mode round-around maps with Invictus and Barbaros, however you say that, and a survival map called Island. That's not very Romish. Anyway, players will be able to access two new gladiator skins for their combatants, both taken from the Rise Son of Rome single-player campaign, where you have Galat, the barbarian chief, and Rise protagonist Marius Titus. And then there's an article here. It says, Justin Roby, senior producer at Microsoft, refers to the new maps as sort of Roman holodeck. They're sprawling multi-tiered affairs that expand well beyond the Roman Colosseum's ability to hold the action. And they say they tell stories with their maps. Quite interesting. And then the maps are loosely based on historical events. The Servile Wars, a series of slave uprisings, inspired the creation of the Invictus map. Barbarous goes back to the numerous barbarian invasions that helped spur the fall of the Roman Empire. In these maps, gladiators were tasked with seizing and holding marks such as the God Tree, lighting wicker men on fire, defending Emperor Nero from harm, and avoiding numerous fire traps and arrow jets. New underground areas link certain stages together, and there's plenty of thematic and environmental diversity within each of these maps. In Barbarous, players start off in the verdant open courtyard with a banner-decked god tree, and then quickly move on to a vendor's market and claustrophobic high-walled city center. And then moving on to Island, the challenge here is to fight off an endless series of combatants, pulling off executions to ensure the restoration of their health. The limited combat space and constantly diminishing health creates a wonderful sense of urgency. I like how they put that. And this tension is heightened further by unassailable raining arrows down on the battlefield. It says this map demands that players fight without quarter or pause, and is perhaps Rise Son of Rome's most intense offering. So again, $8.99. This came out on April 24th, which is now past history. So the game is out or this DLC is out right now. So pick it up if you have the DLC, or if you don't have the Season Pass. Again, $8.99. If you do have Season Pass, it is free because you already paid for it.
Cool. So another small game. Sarcasm again. Minecraft. Now, this is actually, no jokes aside, this is actually a huge deal. So Minecraft is just massive. I mean, we all know that, and it was massive on Xbox 360. A lot of people being concerned that when Minecraft on the Xbox One released, the number one question is what, Rob?
What is Minecraft?
Boy, oh boy. No, a lot of
Wait,
people
isn't this like you give an answer and I ask a question? It's like
No.
backwards. It's like Jeopardy.
No. A lot of people are concerned about their saves, so they're curious. Like, will my saves?
Oh, I thought you were going to
transfer?
bring up frame rate.
Oh no,
No,
1080p. Are they going to transfer? Because it's already been kind of stated that the PS3 to PlayStation 4, those saves were going to transfer. People were wondering about Xbox One. I would say if the Xbox One and the Xbox did not do this, I mean, that's a big no-no. But they came out and said that Xbox 360 to Xbox One saves will be happening. So that is awesome news for all those people who put a lot of time into Minecraft. So they can rest easy now. It is coming. That's it. That's it. Good news.
Alrighty. Oh no! Oh no! Uh-oh. You guys still there?
Yeah.
We may have a slight problem with the broadcast.
Oh, we're still there.
I got a black screen. Yeah, I can't. I don't know. Let me see if I can go back to another topic screen. Okay, let me try this again. I can't get to our. There we go. Whew. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
I
everybody can
got
still hear us. We're all good, people.
I still got a black screen though for some reason.
Oh, now we disappeared. Oh,
Yeah.
we're back.
I
I know we're like 10
Skype.
seconds behind.
My Mad Max video is not playing.
Oh, well.
There's an issue here. See, this is one of the issues that I've had. I was talking to Brun with about trying to run videos.
Too many at once.
Yeah, it's something to do with the way the scenes are done. This worked earlier, but we just had a crash. So hopefully the other
Whoops.
stuff will work.
Jesus Walks a lot is quoting us Minecraft on Xbox One has the best graphics.
All right, so let me just